Yo, copywriting day 233. Oh no, 243. Fuck me. So, what I'm gonna do in this video is just like break down all of the metrics that I have for this month since it's the last day of the month. And I'm not really gonna talk about like specific goals. I'm just gonna talk about my general goal for the next month. But yeah, I think that's basically it. So, I'll just get into it. Let me pull this shit up. So, yeah. So my stats for April are 25 front end outreaches, which is kind of shit because my goal before I even went into the month was 2 front end outreaches per day, which would have totaled 40 front end outreaches. But the thing is, like, I was just like procrastinating, like, fuck, like a shit ton at the start of the month. And I'll explain why in a minute. But I'll just quickly explain the rest of the metrics. So I sent 25 front end outreaches, got 0 negative responses. And I think the only reason why that hasn't happened yet is because I haven't followed up with the leads, which you'll find out why in a minute. And yeah, so 3 positive responses. They're all still in progress. 0 booked calls right now. Um, but yeah, so like, what is actually front end outreach? Just like, what do I send as front end outreach? So the first thing is obviously a Google Doc. So like, actually, I forgot to include it, but there's an outreach script. So like, there's an initial thing I say, and I attach a Google Doc. So the first piece of like all they see whenever they open the email, like in terms of like attachments, is just a link to a Google Doc. And then inside that Google Doc, obviously there's a sales email, which is like the email that I wrote out for them. And then so like I have 2 tabs. I have the intro tab. So like the first tab is an intro tab, and in that intro tab, it'll just be a link of a Loom video. And I should have probably mentioned this, but whenever I like put a Loom video in, it has like the thumbnail of the. So like if you go into, I don't know if you've ever used Loom, you probably have, but whenever you go to copy it, in the top corner, it'll be like there'll be a button called copy GIF thumbnail, and basically what that does is it copies like the picture. So like, you know the way there's a thumbnail of a YouTube video, it's basically like a moving thumbnail. So it'll show like the first 3 seconds of my video. And what I do in the first 3 seconds of my video is I'll have their YouTube channel pulled up and I'll have opened up a video of theirs. And the reason I do that is because their face will be in the thumbnail. Like the like, you know where the thumbnail's there? It'll just be a big picture of me in the bottom right corner and their face right there. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to check how big my camera is just to make sure that it's not taking up the screen. So yeah, the reason you do that is so their face is in the thumbnail, and because like people are just like selfish or like egotistical or I don't know, whatever, narcissists. They just want to see, if they see their own face in a video, they'll just like, oh fuck, I'm in the video, so let's actually look at it. You know what I mean? So that's the reason for that. And then so that they'll see the intro first, and then I just do like a little mini. The reason I say a mini VSL is because I kind of frame it in a way where it makes me just seem like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'll kind of give you a little pitch, a little example of what I say. So like, I'll just say the main reason I'm making this video is just to talk about the sales email that I made for you and to explain how I can make you more money. But so just quickly talking about the email, like the main differences between this and what most other copywriters will send out to you is that the first thing is like it's not written with AI, and obviously that's a big thing now because like most people online, they're all using AI to generate content. So like it all sounds the exact same, the tonality is the same, and it's just like pretty bad. So and like people just, as soon as they see that, they'll just say, oh shit, another AI email. So like, what's the point of reading it? And then the second thing that copywriters do is they just write it by hand, but they write it in their own voice and not in your voice. And the big thing that with that is like whenever people read emails, they read with the YouTuber's like voice in their head. So if they're reading something and it doesn't sound like the way you actually talk in your videos, they'll just be like, they'll know subconsciously that this isn't the same person, you know what I mean? And then it'll just perform worse. And yeah, so just have a read through the email. That's like the main things that are different about it. And if you're interested, like if you're happy with the quality and you want to just like continue working with me, or you know what I mean, get more emails to see what it's like, just reply to my email and let me know, and we can just get on a call and talk about it. So that's it over. That's the end of the pitch. And obviously, it's like obviously not that bad. Like I was just kind of bullshitting there at the end. Like, and if I'm not happy with it, like that run just there of me explaining the pitch wasn't that good. I probably would have re-recorded it a few times until I was happy with it. But that's basically the general pitch of what I send to people. It could be better. I don't know. That's what I'm testing at the moment. And yeah, so in terms of progress for this month, all I actually achieved, which is a fucking really valuable, is I just looked at KJ Rainey's video and a load of videos. I actually probably looked at about 20 videos on Obsidian and Claude, and I built my own fucking system for outreaching. Because, like, yeah, I could have just taken the thing that KJ Rainey had in his, but it would have been like pretty shit because like it's specific to what he had, and he was just giving it a template for anyone to use. So it wouldn't have been good for me to use just straight away. So what I figured out was how, like, KJ actually said this thing. I can't remember if I was still paying for his school community at the time whenever he taught me this, but the most important thing he taught me is to critically think. So like we all have ChatGPT at our fingertips, and for example with Framer, like you can figure out shit on your own. You know what I mean? So like what he said he did was he looked up like what's the best software. How do you find out what people are using to make their sales pages? And then ChatGPT told him like you can go into your inspect thing and see what it, like you know what I mean. See what at the top of the head tag like what actually they built it with. But the thing is, you're able to research everything online and just like you know what I mean. You can figure fucking everything out, which is the OP thing about like just the fucking internet. So the process I had of like making Claude specifically to how I needed it was I basically just figured out like what are the basics, like how does a Claude actually work, and I realized quickly that like it just has a claude.md file. That's like the main thing that like you can have pre-built instructions in that. And the way it works is every single time you start a conversation in a new like a brand new chat instance. So like you know the way whenever you click new tab inside of ChatGPT, it has no context. Well, inside of Claude, if you have a claude.md, it'll read that every single time. So it'll always, you know what I mean? It'll always have that Claude context at the start. But another thing is inside of Obsidian, it's basically just like you can get it to read crazy amount of folders. You know what I mean? And there's probably no point in me explaining all this in detail here. I might make a video on it, but like obviously since I put a lot of work into making it specifically for me, I don't know if I will give that out. But for now, yeah, I wrote out a new outreach script by hand, and it's pretty fucking good, and it's unique, and it seems to be working so far. But let me see what do I have here. Oh yeah, so that's the point. You see the way like over here it's like three positive responses, zero negative responses, and yeah, that's basically it. Well, the reason for that is because with this thing that I built, I did 19 of the 25 outreaches in the last week. So, you know what I mean? There's 4 weeks, so that means I could easily do quadruple the volume. So 100 outreaches in a single month. Use or no, not 100, like 19 by 4. What is that? 76. So I could have done 76 outreaches easily just if I kept it at the same pace as I'm doing right now, had I had this system at the start of the month. But the thing is with that too, obviously like these metrics will be different once I continue to follow up with people because the more you follow up, the more responses you get. So like you'll get people who you piss off, and then that'll be negative responses. But if you just keep following up, you might get a few positive responses too. So they'll come in a few days. But that's all of that. What do I have under here? I put these here to like kind of like tease you to keep you engaged, even though it doesn't really matter. But like it's just a thing that I see people do, and let me think. Wait a minute. I'm just need to make sure I was actually recording that whole time. Okay, good. Fuck. Yeah. So let's have a look. What is underneath the card? Because I don't even remember. Oh yeah. So basically, what I got this month was direction, and I'll explain this quickly. So like, the first 3 months, what I did was since I was only doing back end outreach, I had direction. Like, you basically just take a script, plug in people's like name, so like their name, their offer, the type of copy you want to write for them, and that's basically it. So like, there's not much thinking involved. So all I would do is I'd go onto YouTube, source leads, like 30 leads ideally per day, and then just send 30 outreaches with that specific script. But the thing is now, what I made is like I made a process that I can just follow. So all I have to do is find a lead, run this like little skill that I have inside of Claude. It'll completely onboard them. So like I'll give it 3 transcripts, all of their YouTube titles, and all of the copy from their offer. And basically then Claude will just write me out a really good email. I edit it for like 5 or 10 minutes, make sure it's good, record a loom video, and then like plug in my script, my outreach script, and then just send it. So like there isn't much thinking involved. I just do the same thing over and over again. The only hard part that's time consuming is just finding leads. So like I go onto YouTube and find people who have like a newsletter, one-to-one mentorship, or like a course. You know what I mean? Stuff like that to sell, and then I just do the outreach. But what's under here? Oh yeah, my goal. So Like I need to actually write out like all of my goals for May because I usually do more in-depth goals than just this. But yeah, so my main goal is just to try and get another email client, but this time not a rev share, just on retainer. Maybe like if I can get a retainer plus rev share, obviously that's good. But in my experience, like unless you can have like a client that's like technically not I don't what do you even call it, like just switched on, like they know what they're doing online. Like is it technically? I think that yeah, like oh, like with technical experience. So like they know how the internet works and they know how like tracking works and all that shit, and they're like switched on. Yeah, then you can use a rev share because it makes sense. Like they're gonna know how many sales you got them. You know what I mean? But if it's like a random person who isn't that like technically advanced or whatever the fuck, I don't even know if I'm like describing that properly. Yeah, then you don't want a rev share because you're not gonna get your sales tracked and it's just gonna be fucked. But yeah, I don't know how long this video is, I'll check now in a second, but that's basically been day 243, end of April. It's not that good, but I have a feeling that the next month's going to be pretty fucking good since I've built a system that's just going to let me actually do a load of front end outreach. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you have any questions, ask me in the comments or in the Telegram, and I'll see you tomorrow. Yo, I just watched the last part of that video, but I realized that I cut myself off whenever I was explaining something, so I just want to talk about that. So whenever I was saying that I found direction, and I was saying that like whenever I first started out for the first 3 months, I was only doing back end, that it was really easy because I knew exactly what I had to do. It was just a matter of like doing the work every single day. I didn't have that. Like for the like previous 3 or 4 months, and the reason I didn't have that is because whenever you're doing front end outreach, you're just like looking for people. So you look for someone and you'll see like five different options of people you can write free value for. And the thing that like lets you procrastinate is you're like, who's the best person? Because like I'm gonna have to sit down there for like, before I had the Claude thing, this is what I thought. I have to sit down there for like an hour or two to write out a full email by hand and put a lot of effort into it and actually like research it myself just to like outreach to someone. So I want to make sure that the person I pick is really fucking good. And what ended up happening was that would lead me to just like I would look at loads of different options, like the loads of different people online to make sure I was outreaching to someone that it would actually be worth my time to like hand write out an email. And that's the difference when you have this. Like you can literally just see someone, and even though they're not the best lead, like they're not like guaranteed to be have, they're not like you know what I mean. They're not like perfect. You can still just outreach to them because it's not that much of a commitment. Like you can just quickly write out pretty good email, better than like what 90% of copywriters will send them, and then you can just outreach to them. Whereas previously, I'd have to commit like 2 hours or 3 hours to write out something for one lead that might be shit in the first place. And that's the thing that is so overpowered about it because you know, like the biggest thing with I don't know if you can call it entrepreneurship or whatever the fuck, like with copywriting, being uncertain is like the fucking worst part about it because you just whenever you don't know what to do and you're every single day you're just looking at videos, you're just like thinking the whole time, like figuring out what the fuck, like what can I actually do every single day without having to feel like I'm starting over from scratch. That's like the worst part about it. And because obviously if you build a system like that or just like figure out what once you figure out what you have to do, whatever the fuck, even if it's not copywriting, if it's like with ecom or I don't know, TikTok shop or whatever the fuck you do, once you figure out like the main thing that you can do just to actually make progress and just consistently get like inputs towards your desired outcome, then you're just like sorted. Like it makes it way fucking easier. And that's what I have now. But yeah, I just thought I'd explain that more because I looked at it and I just kind of skipped over it because I forgot what was under here and this kind of just distracted me. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, bye. Why did I wave? I did the thing that I do whenever I start my loom videos. I always go like, hey, or some shit like that. But yeah, that's it. So see you.